Are the Toronto Maple Leafs finally going to make the smart, necessary move and trade David Kampf to clear cap space and give opportunities to younger talent? Or are they going to continue holding on to a 30-year-old fourth liner who's unhappy, underutilized, and eating up $2.4 million in precious salary cap room? All right, folks, let's shift gears and talk about a situation that's been brewing quietly in the background but is now coming to a head. The future of David Kampf with the Toronto Maple Leafs. This isn't about a blockbuster trade for a superstar or a high-risk gamble on a reclamation project. This is about smart roster management, clearing cap space, and making room for younger players who deserve opportunities. Kampf, a 30-year-old center, has been unhappy with his role in the organization, and according to insider Elliotte Friedman, he's currently taking time away from the team to reflect on his career and his future. The writing is on the wall. Kampf wants to play in the NHL, but it's not going to be in Toronto. And now, a potential trade scenario with the Vancouver Canucks has emerged that could be the perfect solution for everyone involved. Let's break down why this move makes sense, what Toronto would gain, and why this is exactly the kind of smart, calculated roster decision that championship contending teams need to make. Let's start with the current situation. David Kampf is a 30-year-old center who signed a 2-year contract extension with the Maple Leafs worth $2.4 million per season. At the time, the deal made sense. Kampf was a reliable fourth-line center, a strong penalty killer, and a player who could be trusted in defensive situations. But as the roster has evolved, as younger players have emerged, and as the team's needs have shifted, Kampf has found himself squeezed out of the lineup. He's currently playing in the AHL, which is not where a 30-year-old NHL veteran wants to be. And according to Friedman, he's taking time away from the team to think about his career. That's NHL insider code for this player is unhappy, he wants out, and a trade is likely coming. Friedman stated clearly, Kampf is taking a few days to think about his career. Obviously, he wants to play in the NHL, and he's an NHL-level player. That's the crux of the issue. Kampf is good enough to play in the NHL, but he's not good enough to crack Toronto's current lineup on a consistent basis. He's stuck in organizational limbo, and that's not good for anyone. Not for Kampf, who wants to play, and not for the Leafs, who are paying him $2.4 million to play in the minors. This is where the Vancouver Canucks enter the picture. Vancouver is facing significant depth issues at the center position, particularly with injuries and inconsistent performance from their bottom six forwards. They need a reliable, experienced center who can play a responsible defensive game, kill penalties, and provide stability in the lower lines. David Kampf fits that profile perfectly. He's an NHL-caliber player who can step in immediately and contribute, and he's exactly the kind of veteran presence that a team like Vancouver, which is trying to compete for a playoff spot, needs. The proposed trade scenario, as reported, is straightforward. Toronto Maple Leafs receive 2026 sixth-round draft pick. Vancouver Canucks receive David Kampf. At first glance, the return seems modest. A sixth-round pick is not a significant asset. But the primary strategy for the Maple Leafs here isn't about maximizing the return. It's about clearing Kampf's contract off the books. His $2.4 million cap hit has been a delicate point for the team, and moving him will provide immediate cap relief without losing much in terms of on-ice contribution, since he's not currently playing for the NHL roster anyway. This is about creating financial flexibility, about opening up roster spots for younger players, and about doing right by a veteran player who deserves to be playing in the NHL. For the Canucks, acquiring Kampf means adding an experienced center to the lineup, especially with the indefinite absence of players like Philip Chytil, who actually plays for the Rangers, so this might be a reporting error. But the point stands about Vancouver center depth issues and the slow recovery of other injured forwards. Kampf would likely slot into the bottom six, providing stability, defensive responsibility, and penalty-killing expertise. He's not going to put up big offensive numbers, but he'll do all the little things that help teams win games, especially in tight, low-scoring playoff-style matchups. Specialists are analyzing this as a win-win scenario. Michael Russo, a respected NHL journalist, commented, Kampf gets to return to playing in the NHL on a team that needs his experience, while the Maple Leafs clear cap space and offer opportunities to young talents. That's exactly right. This isn't about one team fleecing the other. It's about two organizations finding a mutually beneficial solution to their respective problems. Toronto gets cap relief and roster flexibility. Vancouver gets a reliable, experienced center. Kampf gets to play in the NHL again. Everyone wins. Kampf's situation also reflects a broader issue in the NHL: contract management and the integration of veteran players into the roster. Keeping an unhappy player can create discomfort in the locker room and negatively impact team performance. In this context, acting quickly is essential for the Maple Leafs. The longer the situation drags on, the greater the risk of creating a toxic atmosphere or damaging Kampf's trade value even further. The timing is also strategic. With injuries accumulating across the league, teams are actively looking for depth players who can step in and contribute immediately. Kampf fits that bill perfectly, and moving him now, while there's demand, ensures that Toronto gets some return, even if it's just a late-round pick, rather than losing him for nothing or having to buy him out. From a cap perspective, clearing Kampf's $2.4 million would give Toronto significant flexibility. They could use that space to make other moves, to call up younger players from the AHL, or to add another piece at the trade deadline. It's not a massive amount of cap space, but in a league where every dollar counts, it's meaningful, and it sends a clear message to the rest of the roster. If you're not contributing, if you're not fitting into the team's plans, the organization will make the necessary moves to improve the team. Sources indicate that Kampf is maintaining a professional posture, waiting for a resolution. Internal reports suggest he's open to negotiating and willing to fully commit to whichever team acquires him. The expectation is that any movement will occur within this trade window, aiming to maximize benefits for all parties involved. That professionalism is commendable, and it should make him an attractive target for teams looking for a reliable, low-maintenance veteran who can contribute immediately. If this trade is completed, it will be a significant marker for the Maple Leafs this season, demonstrating that management is willing to make strategic adjustments to balance the roster, manage salaries, and create playing opportunities, while also helping the player find the ideal environment to continue his career. It's not a flashy move. It's not going to generate massive headlines, but exactly the kind of smart, calculated roster management that successful organizations execute consistently. This is about addition by subtraction. By moving Kampf, Toronto creates cap space, opens roster spots, and allows younger players like Fraser Minton or other prospects to get NHL opportunities. It's about building for the future while also addressing immediate needs. And it's about treating a veteran player with respect, giving him a chance to continue his NHL career in a situation where he'll actually play rather than languishing in the minors. What do you think, Leafs Nation? Should Brad Trailerving pull the trigger on this trade and move David Kampf to the Vancouver Canucks for a 6th-round pick? Is clearing his $2.4 million cap hit worth the minimal return? And how important is it for the Leafs to create roster flexibility and opportunities for younger players? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear all your perspectives on this move. And if you want to stay on top of every trade rumor, every roster move, and every breaking news story as the NHL season unfolds, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. We'll be here breaking down every significant development, and you won't want to miss a single update as we continue to chase that ultimate prize.